Hello and welcome to Warp Factor Unknown, the podcast where we delve into the world of Star Trek for an unpredictable rewatch and discussion. I'm your host Dan, and joining me today is Jacob, who has got some Yamek sauce to trade.
What's a Yamek sauce?
We was
Which series is that from?
I'll come back to it in a second. So today we are discussing the Star Trek Deep Space Nine episode One Little Ship from season 6, episode 14. And when we finished the episode, we was just having a quick flick over, like on Netflix, to all the other ones from season 7. And one of the episodes was something like The Great Treachery, Great Betrayal, The Great River. The one where Nog goes on like a journey with Sisko's desk and does like underhand dealings on Chief O'Brien's behalf. And I think in that one, Yamek sauce gets mentioned quite a lot. I think it's a favourite source of the Cardassians. I think they love it. So like their mayonnaise.
Okay.
So a slight deep cut on that reference.
That's a deep cut. But is mayonnaise like humanity's favourite sauce? That would be my next question.
Okay. So Star Trek American show.
American sauce.
I would say ranch.
I would say more like mustard. American mustard.
Maybe because in DS9 they specifically mention root beer quite a lot.
That's very American.
That's very American.
But that's just for us Brits, it's basically Dr. Pepper.
Yeah, so I would say that ranch is probably the human sauce.
I know ranch from, you get the Doritos, ranch sauce Doritos.
Yeah, I've never had like actual
cool
ranch sauce.
Yeah.
So I don't know what
is
it actually... I assume it's some kind of just like seasoned mayonnaise.
I thought it wasn't it. It's like sour cream, isn't it?
Oh, it could be a sour cream base. Haven't you been to the States?
I've been to America, yeah.
You've been to the America.
Been to the America. I mean, there's many Americas.
Okay, well, yeah, when you go back next to the America, the greatest America of all, make a point to have some ranch.
I'll try and do some ranch
dressing.
Yeah, I think I'll try and do some ranch.
Yeah.
Find out what it is. But I still think it would be American mustard. Because, what do you put on a hot dog? You put mustard or ketchup.
Maybe.
So, this is...
But then I guess that's kind of like saying that the British sauce is like brown sauce, which is a weird...
Well, the French like to think it's all for us. It's the mint sauce. Because
really?
That's Asterix... you know Asterix Obelix?
I do not.
Sorry, this is a huge tangent.
We're going tangent.
Asterix Obelix is... you don't remember that from childhood? It's like a French cartoon where it's the Gauls. And
I do not.
It's a really fat, like Gaul, and then a really small, short Gaul. And they both have like magic powers. There was films.
I'm sure there was,
and they're based on comic books. And they're fighting the Romans. That's like the storyline and arc. And in it, they always mention how awful mint sauce is, and it's a mockery of our cuisine palette. Interesting,
because Brits get a lot of flack internationally online about having a lack of flavour and taste in our food, which I disagree with wholeheartedly.
I do too.
However, mint sauce is one of the more flavourful,
it's fantastic.
It's like a sort of basic condiment. It's one of the more flavourful and potent, way more than ketchup or anything else. Mint sauce really packs a punch.
Oh, I agree. Having lived in another country for many years, constantly people telling me how awful English food is, and I have to keep pushing back. And it's like a lot of our cuisine is based off French cooking.
Yeah.
All of our chefs have gone to France and educated themselves in French cuisine and cooking.
It's not
so that's what our cuisine is.
It's not true. It's not completely baseless. But the whole idea that all Brits just eat plain unseasoned meat with boiled vegetables and plain potatoes it's
wrong.
It's just wrong.
I mean, beef Wellington actually is a French dish originally, but we beat Napoleon, and so the Duke of Wellington.
So we in the treaty,
we got. No, it was part of
it's
part of the insult of we beat the French.
Yeah.
So we're going to steal one of your cultural icons, and we'll just name it after our guy.
Is that the actual origin story of beef Wellington?
I'm pretty sure that's the origin of beef Wellington.
I feel like that's some...
You have to find out. You have to find out stuff. People in the comments below can tell us. Am I right? Am I wrong?
Man,
we actually watched an episode of Star Trek.
Yeah, we are way off topic. And we already had a non-topic thing to talk about on this episode of the podcast.
Beer.
No, we did. You brought over a bottle of beer, which was a black garlic amber ale, which sounded really interesting. And we opened it and drank a bit. And Jacob?
I don't taste black garlic.
There's no black garlic. There's none.
So for context, if you want to buy it, it's from the Isle of Wight, from the Garlic Farm. It's pretty famous. You can get all sorts of stuff there. Ketchup, mayo, whatever.
Garlic.
With everything. And one thing you can get is garlic beer. And we then like, I wonder what it tastes like. Very nice.
Just a nice beer.
It is nice, but it's I don't taste the garlic. So
Zero garlic.
I mean, it's just a very nice beer in general.
Yeah,
so.
but when one is promised a garlic flavoured thing, you want it to taste like garlic.
Yeah.
You want it to punch you in the gut.
We'll point out that we did read out the tasting notes. I don't have it to hand right now, so I can't read them on the podcast.
Like, it was correct.
Yeah, it was
until
correct.
Until it got to a garlic part.
It was something like saying like a sweet note of black garlic. And it's like, I got the sweetness, just not the garlic.
Yeah.
I mean, it's a bit smoky, which is what you expect from black garlic, but...
Yes. Yeah, because if anyone's not ever had black garlic, you should really have black garlic. It is phenomenal. Obviously, we're doing some bonus episodes of this podcast, hence it's just me and Jacob. This is the third and final of this mini bonus series.
Yeah.
And the past two episodes, you'll all remember that I have been unprepared and not had a synopsis until today.
Oh my God! He finally got his act together.
I finally got my act together.
I mean, this is the professional quality that we're promised.
Like, so I'm prepared, but I'm also not prepared in the sense that it's on my screen to the right of me, which is away from where my microphone is. So I'm going to try and do this awkwardly. So here's the recap for One Little Ship, which normally Tom does, and he's got a really good reading voice.
Did you say season as well? Season episode?
Yeah, this is season 6, episode 14.
14, yeah.
Yeah. Okay. In this episode, a scientific mission takes an unusual turn when Dax, O'Brien, and Bashir board the runabout Rubicon to study a rare subspace anomaly that shrinks objects passing through it. During the experiment, their ship is miniaturized to mere inches in length. Meanwhile, the Defiant, waiting nearby, is attacked and captured by the Dominion's Jem'Hadar soldiers, who aim to use the vessel to bolster their war effort. Despite their small size, the Rubicon crew decides to help retake the Defiant. They stealthily enter the ship through a plasma vent and work with Kira, Worf, and Nog, and also Cisco, to outmaneuver Jem'Hadar. Using their small size as an advantage, they sabotage critical systems, creating chaos among the Dominion forces. Cisco uses the Jem'Hadar's inner rivalry against them to sow doubt and confusion, helping to retake the Defiant. The anomaly later restores the Rubicon and its crew to its original size. Now, I'm gonna do some behind the scenes thing here, for you listeners at home. Me and Jacob both gave that a read, and we both struggled. Turns out that neither of us were really good at like audiobook reading. But whenever we do it with Tom, he nails it every single time. Yeah, that was actually if you I'm gonna edit it, of course, but if you was to hear the raw audio of me and Jacob bumbling through that, oh my God.
I'm just we know Andy Serkis and we know Stephen Fry, famous audio. But...
Yeah, like. It's really apparently just reading, what's just 3 short paragraphs.
I've actually always been bad at reading
aloud.
Well, I can read. But
he can read.
I can read. This is going in. It's just reading words while you're saying it like a speech.
Yeah, reading aloud. Yeah.
What I'm much better at is instead bullet points.
Oh man,
because I mean, I guess what really my education is taught me is always to speak. To public, even like large groups of people public, but you're always going off of what you know and therefore using bullet points as guidelines. That's way better.
I'm actually
for me anyway.
I'm the same as you. I'm actually, surprising what this podcast may lead you to believe, I'm actually really good at public speaking. Something I never thought I would be, but it turns out I am. Same thing. Bullet points, just in some ways it's kind of bullshitting. Like I'm just because I know what I'm on about.
You know stuff.
But I'm just like
I reckon you could probably do that if you instead have done so you said 200 words, right?
Yeah.
If you then cut that and just had bullet points,
possibly.
I think you might
possibly, but it's always Tom who does it.
Yeah, sure,
and it works.
Yeah, but I mean, we just saw the episode, but
yeah.
But I should point out, it's the first time we've seen the episode together. Out of all 3 of these bonus episodes,
we've been watching, independently.
But I think if you did bullet points on that right now, you could probably do a really good job.
Maybe, but because Tom does it, it's fine.
Yeah, that's his job.
Tom has his one job.
Yeah. Oh, hang on, let me get Tom. Tom, where are you, Tom?
Yeah. Tom has 2 jobs in his podcast: read the recap and be funny, and he's really good at both of those. Okay, so One Little Ship.
Yeah.
What a good episode of DS9. My first note is Honey, I Shrunk the Shuttle. It's a classic trope in TV
We'll
and film.
get into that.
Oh, you want to come back to that?
I have an opinion,
okay.
but in general, no, a really good episode. I already have my IMDb rating in my mind.
Oh, really?
I already know what number I'm giving it. But let's talk about it first. Do that at the end. Yes, so this was my season pick for the final bonus episode of the trio.
Yeah, no, it wasn't a season pick, so it was just show pick.
Yeah, show pick, that's what I mean. Yeah, show pick. So luckily, getting a random high number for the season, which is good. So season 6.
Yeah.
And then also, I mean, generally, I think anything season 5, 6, 7 is pretty solid.
Yeah.
So
DS9 really takes off season 5 onwards.
Yeah, strong show. So I was very happy. It's a good pick. It's an enjoyable episode. Off the top, because this is the end. Well, actually, no. I'll get
the end.
No. We'll talk about it at the end.
Okay.
We'll talk about it at the end.
We're coming back to Jacob's End.
Coming back to it. Because it's the trio of bonus episodes.
Oh, you see, you want to review this little mini-series you've been doing.
What's your favourite?
I was going to ask you about that. So
there we go. We'll get that at the end.
Yeah, okay. Fine. So you don't want to do the Honey, I Shrunk the Shuttle, and you don't want to do the... Okay, fine.
No, we can talk about that. We can talk about that now.
Okay, fine.
If you've got any more general points about the episodes.
No more general points. I'll sort of pepper those in as we go.
Yeah. No, general points. I particularly always have a niggle against the idea of in sci-fi of shrinking things down, because it's always the same physics explanation. They always say that the distance between the molecules, so physics, you got your proton, your neutron, the nucleus of your atom, and then you have your shell of electrons. And they always say the same explanation. They shrink the distance between the electrons and the nucleus. And A, you can't do it. Ever. It's not physically possible. B, it would cause so many other issues in physics in general, which we can get into if you want to.
Well, I would just say that this is a sci-fi TV show where we're in space with aliens and laser guns.
Sure. But I would say a lot of Star Trek is kind of like near to far future realistic.
It tries to be.
Yeah.
It tries to be.
But one of these things, this thing in particular is very much like, it's not possible.
Actually, you'll like this. So in a previous episode of the podcast, well, I think Emma was a guest on it. We was talking about an original series episode, and in that episode they mention the galactic barrier, which back in the old Trek and in one or more of the movies comes up semi frequently. This galactic barrier, and back in the 60s, that was a legitimate scientific theory that there was a galactic barrier. Now we know more, and we know that is silly, but yeah. You're right, Star Trek does try sometimes to go with modern science thinking, but also sometimes that scientific thinking is wrong. I'm not saying that the miniature thing is ever going to be true. That's not what I'm saying.
There's no way of doing it. There's no way of doing it correctly, because in reality is that you would basically ruin the fundamental principles of physics by doing it. Yeah, well... So it's not ever possible.
Well, personally, I always like this trope, and I kind of grew up watching those the Honey, I Shrunk the Kids. Those were 2 or 3 movies, and I remember the scene in the grass. They're fighting an ant. And I remember it looking really cool. Yeah. And I suppose if I went back and watched it now, it may be a bit more dated, but I really like that.
Good point though. In Honey, I Shrunk the Kids, which they mention here, which is when they try to make it as close to physics. It's like you can't go outside because the oxygen would be as small, would be 2,000 times larger than what you're used to. Than hemoglobin. So you would suffocate, and it's like, okay, I guess that's not real.
They thought about it a little bit.
They thought about it a little bit, but physically not possible. Can't be done.
And I always the other bit of media I really like when it comes to miniaturization is the Futurama episode where they go into Fry's body.
That's a good episode.
That's a good episode.
That's a very good episode.
But yeah, there's tons of it's a common trope. I like it. I think it's good.
Yeah, for me, it's just always the physics thing. It's just most of the stuff. I mean, I know you can see warp travel's not really possible, and it's like, well, yeah, there's papers out there that you can do theory of actual warp, wormhole stuff, but that's sort of a more realistic. But this is just physically not possible. It just can't be done.
Yeah.
So
I got you.
That's only my niggle with it. But yeah, that's generally though great episode.
Yeah. During the opening, they sort of saying, "Oh, we're actually on a pretty rare non-combat mission. I like that. I like that this crew gets a bit of rotation to do some sciencey exploring stuff.
I miss Captain's Log. Like, it starts the episode with
Captain's Log, yeah.
And having watched the last one, which was Discovery, I was like, ooh. Captain's Log. Ooh.
They do them on Discovery. Obviously we don't have that trouble of like opening every episode, I suppose. Yeah. I like that. Just a minor note. I like that they're not doing combat until they are, but
yeah, you like the reference there, like, oh, maybe if we can master this technology, transwarp corridors.
I missed that. Oh, yeah,
It's like, ooh, I don't know how that would work.
Have you got to be small to go through a transwarp corridor?
I don't know. I don't know how that would work.
Transforming space, especially big to small, so
I thought transwarp corridor was like tunnels,
like artificial wormholes. That's what I thought it was.
40K. It's the warp. No, the warp's different. It would be the webway.
Oh, the webway. Yeah.
It's like the webway. Is how I.
Yeah.
For our listeners, that basically means tunnels through space to specific points in space.
Yeah.
Which is what
the transwarp.
That's what it is.
Conduits are.
Yeah.
God, fucking nerds, aren't we? We actually like cool things sometimes. Okay. Also on the opening scene in that thing, when Kira is talking about them being really small.
A weird joke.
Yeah, and she laughs, and it's really forced, really cringe.
I didn't understand what the joke was.
Yeah, that was clearly non-visitor's like 10th take, and she's just like lost the ability to genuinely laugh, and it kind of tells. But you can't win them all.
It's a bit weird.
It's a very just forced, cringy laugh. Yeah,
and it's not funny either. So
no, it's not funny. Like the idea of them being small, but
if you did it in a way that was like embarrassing to somebody, but then that's kind of more bullying, but. Yeah. I don't know. There's other ways. There's other jokes you could probably make.
Well, they do. But the very next conversation is when like the whole poem thing. Like they have this like final communication, and Jadzia is like she mentions this poem as they're like getting cut off, like to drop Worf in it. That's really funny.
Yeah, that's good.
And then the whole bridge is like, so Worf, as friends do, and then even funnier, Nog saves him. It's brilliant. A really good joke. I like that.
Kia joke would have been better if it was more sexually related, I guess.
Maybe.
I mean, of the time, it probably would be.
Do you mean like between like Worf and Jadzia?
Yeah, something like that. But
like thing.
Of the time, you get away with it, but not today. I guess. I don't know what you want to. It's a bit weird to then be like, "Oh, you got a small penis."
You can't do a sex joke today. What's wrong with you?
You can get sex jokes today. It's just it would be a bit weird in that context. In a workplace.
Oh, yeah, totally.
Because it's a workplace. Yeah. Well, I guess in the early 2000s, it's probably a bit more acceptable.
In our TNG episode, the show opens with Geordi doing a sex joke, but I thought it was a sex joke on the bridge.
Well, that's the 80s. So.
Yeah. Anyway.
My next point, go Rubicon, because they're in the Rubicon.
They're in the Rubicon. I don't know if it's just DS9. DS9 does do it. I don't know if the other shows do it. But in DS9, all the shuttles are named after rivers. They have like the Ganges, and the Rubicon, and other famous rivers here. But Mississippi, I've not.
So from my memory, I don't remember them ever saying it's the Rubicon in other.
No, but the Rubicon's a fairly common.
Okay, because they always say it's a runabout, and so I thought that it was just called runabout because I'm an idiot.
No, they always have names in DS9, and it's always a river.
Okay,
I can pull out Rubicon and Ganges. I don't know.
That must have some writer somewhere has
just
got a good reason.
Just likes rivers.
Yeah, or they've come up with a good reason for it. Or Now, that's when a bit time later we encounter the Jem'Hadar.
We do. I have a note about the fight scene. It's one of those like stupid TV niggles, and I'm not really gonna it's not gonna knock it down at any point because all TV does this all the time. We're on the bridge. There's explosions going off, consoles exploding. Some random ensign at helm dies. Cisco does not move. Kira comes up to the helm. Another explosion. She gets knocked out. Cisco's like, "Oh my god, what happened?" He's all over. He's like, "Oh, you're okay." But the guy just died like 5 seconds ago.
No one cares about ensigns.
No one cares about That's some random extra.
That brings me up to a couple of points. Because I made a similar note. What are these explosions? What things are blowing up? So I know you said in a previous bonus episode that it was
it's like some rocks in the screen and
isn't it?
Lower decks,
lower decks,
techno babbles away. Yeah,
What is it?
No one knows. The screens in Star Trek are really dangerous.
Yeah, clearly.
Yeah, you should not be working near those. Those things are far too highly charged and really fragile and always blowing up.
Because, I mean,
Yeah, no one
if
knows.
any part of your spaceship was blowing up arbitrarily, also they hit the outside and somehow it causes an explosion in the control room.
It must.
It's
Okay,
a bit weird.
Okay, so they have like plasma-based weapons or,
They put it-
or energy weapons.
Oh,
So
right.
the energy weapon hits the
Disrupts it.
ship,
Yeah,
like surges power for a system, and then like
right.
escapes. I don't know. I'm just.
It
I'm really
always
clutching at
escapes
straws
to the
here.
bridge for some reason.
You can assume the rest of the ship is also
Yeah.
like a fireworks show as well.
Speaking of the ensign that died,
Mhm.
because later on they obviously get captured and put into the engine room,
Yes.
and they're like, "This is the crew," and it's just the main characters.
No.
Where's the rest of the crew?
They get put in a cargo bay. They do mention that.
They gas the rest of
Yeah.
the ship,
Well, I guess
so they just kill all of the other crew.
No. But they knock them out.
Okay,
It's like a knockout drug. So we assume that the knockout drug
I thought it
works
killed them.
because there might be Jem'Hadar in the cargo
Yeah.
bay with the prisoners.
Is it
so
Nestin gas or is
it was
Nissin
definitely
gas,
definitely a
whatever it's called?
knockout
Yeah.
drug.
It's interesting why
Because
they carry
at the
that
very-
gas on board.
At the very end of the episode, in Cisco's log, he mentions that the Jem'Hadar have been sent to a PW
Yeah, the
camp.
surviving ones.
Yeah. I'm going to jump to that right now because that was one of my last notes. I was like, that's really interesting. So, Jacob, you know that the Jem'Hadar require Ketracel White to stay alive.
That's another note I had. They take heroin.
They take heroin to stay alive. If they don't take it, in like a few days, they
There's
die.
an episode on that.
There's a whole episode on that. Actually, I think there's a couple, actually. Anyway.
There's a famous one when they go to the Gamma Quadrant when they first encounter
Yeah,
Jem'Hadar.
yeah.
And then don't they synthesize some...
Bashir tries to,
Yeah.
doesn't quite get there.
Okay.
And then there's another episode where there's like some Jem'Hadar trying to like break through the withdrawal. Anyway, my question is, they take these Jem'Hadar to a prison camp. How do they get them Ketracel White? How do they keep them alive? Is there... Because I don't imagine the Dominion would like have some kind of like ongoing treaty about the
No.
like prisoners of
Yeah.
war. Or we'll supply with some Ketracel White. What the shit's going on here?
Do you reckon the Federation is just, we'll put you in a camp? Oh, you died.
Yeah, maybe that's it. Like,
Never mind.
It's just like Federation propaganda. Like you
Yeah.
capture Jem'Hadar, send them back to us, but they're all just dying.
I would like to hope that they've synthesized a synthetic version or something that could temporarily keep them going, or send them back through the wormhole.
No, because if there was some kind of like synthetic version, that means they would know how to produce it, which means that Section 31 would definitely find a way to
Weaponize it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
weaponize it like some sort of biological warfare. Yeah, but
But isn't the idea of Section 30? The idea of Section 31 is very
contentious.
yeah.
Some of it, some hate it.
'Cause
I'm
it's like-
ambivalent.
Okay, because it's like you could be like, oh look, the miniaturization shrinking. We could weaponize this Section 31.
Okay, yeah,
Like
totally.
every single Star Trek episode is like everything you could do. We could weaponize it.
yeah, totally.
Like
yeah.
and so it gives you like that scope of
yeah.
endless possibilities, and it's like that's just a story, kind of a story like plot
Yeah,
hole
it's-
issue.
There's
Like
tons of plot holes. Yeah.
the idea that it exists is kind of a bit. It's fine. There's going to be a TV series. Maybe we'll find out.
No, it is a movie.
It is a movie.
It is a
now.
movie.
Okay, so you did check.
Yeah. So it was originally going to be a TV show. Stuff happened, Paramount stuff.
Oh,
I
right,
don't really
yeah.
know the stories. I don't really watch or like taking like the news, like pop culture news. But yeah, it's a movie.
Okay,
Um,
interesting.
yeah.
It's not going to be. It's not in cinemas. Is it just direct to Paramount Plus?
No idea.
We'll find out.
We will find out. I mean, I'm gonna watch it. I mean,
It's weird to have a Star Trek movie that's not directly the Enterprise.
yes, that's a good point. It's normally but it is obviously like a big spin-off from Discovery. So because have you not watched that? Because obviously,
Section 31's in that.
Yeah, no. Oh god. Okay.
Oh, what's her name? She's in Everything Everywhere all at Once.
Yes. I can't
Um,
remember the actress name. Everyone knows who that is. That amazing
The-
actress.
Yes, who won an Oscar for that performance.
Yeah, which is a good movie, great movie. And yeah, she's in it. She's in Discovery, and she's amazing. Discovery, like the first few episodes, she's just like the regular captain, and she's just like a straight-faced, epic Starfleet captain, and they kill her. I think it's episode 1, like basically immediately. And I'm like, oh, that sucks. She was so good, but then she comes back through the mirror universe, so it's the
Yeah.
evil version of her.
Yeah.
and she sticks around in the Prime universe, and that's how she becomes a Section 31 thing. And I'm like, nah, she's still great. I prefer the straight-laced Prime universe, not evil version, but whatever.
That's the first as well. No evil version from the Mirror Universe stayed in the normal universe before. I don't think that's ever happened.
I don't think so.
Oh wait, Enterprise. No, that was all in Mirror Universe, wasn't it? In Enterprise, when they go to the Mirror Universe, and
DS9 goes over there a few times. I don't think they.
Yeah, no, I don't think they bring back anyone. Well, they all die.
At least not permanently.
You already did an episode on that.
We did,
and pretty much everyone dies.
Pretty much.
But they do go back.
Yeah. Anyway,
yeah.
Right. Let's
moving on.
Let's get back to what we're doing now.
Defiant, the design, the ship design.
Oh, you want to
think?
Defiant? Yeah. It is okay. It's not my favorite ship design.
No.
I don't love the bridge. I do like. I can't remember its number, but it's like NX.
It's NX 74205.
God, you nerd. But I love.
I made the notes.
I love that it's NX because I assume
I like
NX is like some kind of like experimental ship because the Archer's Enterprise is NX.
Yeah, but isn't the but the Enterprise is originally NX, insert number here, then it's just renamed Enterprise.
No, like Kirk's and Picard's, they're all NCC, but Archer's Enterprise is NX, and so is the Defiant. So I'm going to assume that they're like experimental ships.
Yeah.
I do like the idea that the Federation did build a dedicated warship. It was originally designed to fight the Borg. And then it hazard,
repurposed.
Yeah, repurposed for the Dominion War. So I do like that.
Well, speaking of experimental ships and warships, in Voyager there's one where the Doctor
that fantastic episode in that season 3. Love that ship.
I love that ship design of that experimental ship. I love that design.
It's a good ship.
I know people rag on the Enterprise E. Is it the one after?
The Sovereign class, in the movies.
It's in the movies. I really like that design. In hindsight,
I like it.
I quite like that design.
No, I like it. It's a bit blingy for me, but I like it.
I think for me it's aged well.
Yeah, no,
I don't think I liked it at the time, but I think since
have you got a favourite Star Trek ship? Or like class, or even just like specific?
I love Voyager.
Yeah, mine's Intrepid. I love the Intrepid class, which is the Voyager class ship.
Yeah, the Voyager class ship is it's like I said, I like the D is a classic, but I'm not really a big fan of the D.
It's got too much like cream and like the carpets are it's a bit 80s.
Well, I'm just thinking about the aesthetics on the outside.
Yeah.
No, the interior is. If we're just talking about interior, I think the set design, because that's just a set design, right? I think the set design for Voyager is probably the best. Because it's like you got the bridge, captain's room, and it's kind of continuous around. So as a continuous set, it's pretty cool. And I also like the engine room is also pretty good. Whereas Defiant has like a very weird geometry for the engine room.
Yeah, I don't
and the core is clearly inspired from an original series type design. I don't know whether you noticed that. I had it later because most of the episode's in the engine room.
Okay.
But so for my favorite ships, definitely like aesthetically, it's between the Intrepid class, and then I do have that soft spot. Enterprise E is my soft spot.
Is that your soft spot?
Yeah, and then what's the Enterprise number? Is it J in the future one?
the Archer one,
the massively huge one in the future.
I love that.
I do like that one as well.
I remember reading lore about that ship.
Yeah, I intentionally read lore for that.
I think it's like fan fiction kind of lore. It has like it's got a university on board.
Yeah, it's massive.
I love
it's
that. Yeah.
got like basically a town or
a
city. And
no, I also like I think it's the Odyssey class ship, and that's the one with the ball. Is like the front. It's not a saucer section. You have like a ball section.
I don't believe I've ever seen this.
You have. It's I'm gonna Google. So excuse me while I do some typing.
Quick pause.
I can't. It's not the Odyssey class.
Yeah, spoiler alert. And we can't find which ship it's called.
I can't find it on after a quick Google search. I'm almost certain it's It's definitely in the TNG final, where Beverly Crusher's future ship. I think it's like a hospital ship, and we see it more than that episode. It comes up a few times. It has like a balls of sort.
I vaguely know what you're talking about.
Whatever that ship is called. It's not the Odyssey.
That's really like, what's the correct way of, like, it's not throwback kind of ship. It's very original series sort of design. It's not.
But if you would like my actual like guilty pleasure ship, it's the NX-01. It's Arc's
Of course
Enterprise.
it's, because you love Enterprise.
Okay. I like that ship because it has all the features of the later ships, but they've taken great effort to like de-evolve it to make it look like it's from the past, and it works really well. I like that it has a crew of 50. I think it's 50, and it's really cramped and narrow, and you can tell this is really easy Randy's like first ship, and like the mess hall is so tiny. I love it. I think it's great. So that's my soft spot, but really it's the Intrepid Voyager. That's mine.
The Defiant is NX, like I said, NX-74205, which means there was 74,204 ships prior.
It could
or
be.
Or how are they numbering this?
I have no idea how they're numbering it, but it could be like, 7th generation or, whatever.
Yeah.
The seven could be. It could be like built in this sector. It could be.
It's interesting. Yeah, sector.
It could be like
sector would make more sense.
The beginning of the star date it was made.
Because if it's 01, or it's just years. No, it can't be years after, or star date after launch of NX-01.
They could. To be fair, the Federation is massive. They could have
sector would make sense.
74,000 ships. That doesn't seem unreasonable, really.
Yeah, I just thought when you get to the six figures, it's going to get a bit too much for the saucer section.
Yeah, to narrow it down a little bit.
You have to go around multiple times.
Okay, well, let's leave ships because we're getting into like some weeds.
Yeah.
Here. Okay, on the Rubicon, they're going in. I'm kind of like skipping over them going into the anomaly and getting shrunk. It was a fine scene. It was great.
Yeah.
But I liked the bit after they've been attacked and whatever, and they get the blast shields open to look outside. And Bashir goes, "Chief, you're not going to like this." And he basically Bashir spends the entire episode just poking fun at the Chief, like, "You're small."
Oh yeah.
Like he has no real contribution to this episode other than just like to shit talk the whole time, and I love it. And it's just like, this is their friendship at like a peak level. This is exactly when I think of Bashir and O'Brien. This is what I think of. Because in like season 1, they don't really get on that well. They're kind of like a bit of adversaries, really. So yeah, this is what I think.
It's after when they've had
true bromance.
Yeah, I think isn't this after they've had the episodes where they've like really got to know each, because that's like his wife is in trouble or something in one episode prior, and
Kenko,
and it's Bashir helps save them or something.
Sorry,
like
I just said Kenko. That's a coffee brand. It's Keiko. It's Keiko.
Or no, Bashir helps the pregnancy, isn't it? Because isn't he the godfather of the child?
No, that's Kira's baby. Kira gets pregnant.
Oh.
And as you obviously know...
Oh, because Kenko...
Yeah. Nana Vista and...
She was a surrogate?
No, Nana Vista and...
Because she has a child.
What's his first name? Siddig? Alexander Siddig, who plays Bashir. They got married in real life. And that's his baby. That's their baby together.
Oh, really? I didn't know that.
Because it's in the episode...
That's cool.
In the episode, she's heavily pregnant, and there's like a line saying, "Oh no, sorry, yeah, you are. Oh my god, you're all right." I was confusing the real life pregnancy with the story pregnancy. You're right. It's Keiko's baby. It is
because I think he helps
yes,
deliver
he does.
It, and that's like why they're friends.
Yeah. And they put the baby in Kira.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because the thing I was going to mention was that, a bit later on when Kira is heavily pregnant, she does like some stupid joke where she's like, this whole thing is your fault because he put the baby in her in real life and also in Star Trek. And
that's cool. I didn't know that they were together in real life.
Yeah, they got divorced. I don't know when, but
never mind.
Yeah. Never mind.
I know. I did actually. What's the name of Dr. Bashir's?
Alexander Siddig.
Alexander Siddig. Yeah. He's a. I googled him. He's originally Lebanese. Came over. Educated in the UK, and I looked this up because he was in Game of Thrones.
Of course
he was. I can't remember the name.
Actually, I don't.
Yeah, he is one of the Dawn.
I don't know if he goes by Alexander Siddig anymore. I think he goes by another name.
Yeah,
but obviously, I only ever see him in DS9, so I only ever see.
Yeah, I think that's the last role that I knew him.
Yeah, fine.
Well, before you go a bit further forward, because I think that then cuts to the intro. No, I was going to say the intro I mean, I wanted to mention it because I do love the intro.
Oh, the opening credits, like the
yeah.
Da-na-na-na.
I love it.
Yeah.
It's a shame that Comet never does anything interesting in the show.
For the longest time, I didn't like it. And to be fair, it might still be one of my least favorite opening.
Really?
Things. It's slow and very melodic.
That's the tension. It's like
I know.
ramping up, and then it's like
I know.
I
know. I still don't love it compared to most of the other ones.
So, what is your favorite?
Oh, Enterprise, of course.
Oh.
Well, okay, excluding Enterprise, yeah, maybe just TNG. The TNG one's good.
We didn't mention how
Lower Decks. Lower Decks is great.
You have mentioned this on the main shows of how it's just I never noticed until you mentioned it on the podcast. Just constantly changing and adding spits to that Borg fight.
The season 5 one is amazing.
I will be looking out now because I still need to finish season 4 and 5. So I'll be looking out for that as I go because I just wasn't paying attention to it the first 3 seasons. You miss it. Well, it's just, you don't think because it was like I was watching it as they were releasing. Yeah. So it does it in a row, so I didn't notice the difference.
Yeah.
But no, for me, it's probably between DS9 and Voyager. I think Voyager is number one. Actually. I love Voyager.
I do like Voyager's one. It's really good.
But the music and the cutting and the slow pan around DS9, I do love that one as well. It's very good.
I do. Really
it's a really good model as well.
Yeah, I was about to say I do like the close-up shots of DS9. Yes, it's a good model. It's you got
cuts
model.
of other ships in there as well.
Yeah, it's kind of nice.
The Enterprise, the first.
Well, a Galaxy class.
That's true. Yeah. It's a Galaxy class.
Yeah.
And then it cuts to was there a Cardassian ship as at one point?
Yeah.
Yeah. I really like that. Worst one for me. It's probably the Picard Discovery, actually, because I didn't mention this on the last bonus episode, but the Discovery opening made no sense at all. It was really random and weird, and I just this is like Picard, and I hated it.
I like the Discovery opening because you have to sort of put into context is that Discovery was the first Star Trek show in years, and the theme song I think is actually really good. I quite like it, and I can't remember it. And I do like that it has it's on kind of like a brown paper kind of. I like the Discovery one. I can't remember the Picard one.
Again, it's just random objects.
Yeah. Oh, no, actually, no.
Cutting to his face.
I can't remember what it was, but I remember not liking it, and there was a reason why, and I can't remember. When we get Picard again on the podcast, I'll point
one last thing to point out, though, because you mentioned it in your Enterprise episode.
Yeah.
I love the theme tune.
Oh,
of Enterprise.
It's great.
I love that.
It's great.
It grew on me. I hated it at
Everyone
first, and it really grew on me.
Everyone
does. Love it.
It's great. Yeah, it's on my playlist. It comes up all the time. I'm like sing along in the kitchen. It's great. I love it. Oh man,
we've tangented a lot.
We have. I'm taking us back because I've got like a really stupid like point. Okay, the anomaly.
Yes,
they leave the anomaly and they're small, right? And they stay small because they left from a different route than they came in. So it's either Jadzia or O'Brien like, well, to get back to our original size, we've got to re-enter the anomaly and then go back out of our original path. That means they're going into it twice, so wouldn't they shrink a second time?
Unless the anomaly is making things bigger on the wrong side?
Something sci-fi.
I don't know.
I was like, that doesn't seem to work because...
Yeah, to approach it from the wrong side, it'll make you bigger.
Maybe.
But then it wouldn't make sense because as you approach it, it needs to narrow again.
Yeah, why do they got to go on the side that goes smaller? Go on the side, make them bigger and get like a really big Rubicon.
Again, it's still funny because it's like that whole thing is one sentence and one line. It's like, of course that's the solution. It's like, how did you know?
No, it's not.
How did you know that was the solution? You're making a wild assumption here.
They're really smart.
Yeah.
They're really, really smart. Okay, fine. I have another like stupid like point, I think. When they are getting into the Defiant, the little Rubicon, and they're going through like this little plasma conduit thing. But like, there's a problem. There's like it's getting warm in there, and they say, it's going to be filled with superheated plasma. How hot is superheated plasma? My question is superheated a real thing, or is it just bollocks? It sounds like bollocks.
I think this is real.
You think superheated?
Yeah, this is actually pretty on point.
Excellent, love it.
I think this is pretty on point, and using nuclear fusion is effectively superheated plasma, and they use magnetic fields to
interesting
ignite the plasma. And so this is
because it sounds like
I think this is actually
the term superheated sounds stupid.
And the actually having coils, and they say magnetic fields.
We do,
It's like, okay, that's kind of real.
Yeah.
So I was big bonus points there.
Oh, excellent! Fantastic.
But when they said the plasma igniters, it's like
it's a little lighter, little flick switch.
No, that's not at all. It's a laser. It'll be a laser that will trigger the plasma ignition, or an RF pulse. So the igniter is completely irrelevant, and the fire is also not real.
Yeah. Also, when they bust out the little doors. Which
that was so comically.
It's kind of fun, but
it's a little door.
Why is there that very obvious little hatch?
This big.
Yeah, but it's a really obvious hatch. You can put your hand in there into this superheated plasma.
Yeah. Really dangerous.
Really dangerous.
Yeah. It's comic how it's just it's a flap, like a cat flap.
Yeah.
As well, it's if you just have a mouse running around the end, the ship, and it's going to crawl into this flap, and it's so weird.
Though, actually, on that, all the shots of the Rubicon flying around the Defiant being really miniature, really cool.
Do you know how they shot that?
CGI, no idea.
CGI was not that great then. It's early 2000s, isn't it?
No, this is mid-90s. No, CGI was fine.
Yeah, I'm
you also got to remember, it's on 4:3, aren't we? So
you won't notice.
Yeah.
But it still looks good. I mean, we were watching it on Netflix.
But it's not been upscaled. It's not been there's no HD remaster.
Yeah, but that's what I mean. It still looks.
It holds up fine.
Fine,
even on a big screen. Yeah.
I'm just wondering if was it just somebody with the ship on a stick going. Ooh.
Oh, possibly on a tennis ball. Quite possible.
No, it was really well done.
Yeah, it was. Yeah,
the entire thing.
Right.
I was going to point out, if we're going to talk weird bits, there's I think a little bit before that scene you just described to the plasma igniters, when the Jem Hadar talking to, what's the name of the Vorta? That's it, the Vorta. Yeah. We don't know his name. Nope. But it's the first scene where you have the Vorta, and he's just completely looking the wrong direction of the camera.
He has a Google Glass on, yeah.
I know, but then he looks, it's because he's meant to be looking at the first and the second.
Yeah.
And so I think, guessing the camera angle they were trying to shoot at, I guess he was thinking that he's looking at the first.
No.
As in, it's a cross view.
Well, obviously, he sees it and he's...
Yeah, but then he looks directly at the second.
Yeah, okay, fine. So
it's a really weird cut.
How I'm going to like to interpret that little scene is almost like a bit of a power play. The Vorta look down on the Jem Hadar.
Yeah.
And I think he's so dismissive of what
he's
they're
ignoring
doing.
them.
Almost, yes.
But every other scene, he looks directly at them.
Yeah, so obviously, he was just doing it for that, that small power. Maybe I don't know.
I just thought it looked like it filmed it slightly wrong. He was looking the wrong direction.
Well, he was, but he was intentional, wasn't it?
Yeah, that's fine. Fine way to explain it.
Yeah.
Defiant's a Class 7 warp drive. Does that mean it only goes to warp 7?
No, it has I assume it's a new version. It's like the iPhone 10, what 15, whatever they're on now.
But it looks like it's from the 60s.
It can look old, but new, retro style stuff.
It's also experimental.
Yeah.
Inverted commas.
On the back on the bridge when the Jem Hadar are talking, and also I kind of like that the Vorta just immediately starts sowing shit between the two Jem Hadar.
Yeah.
It's like, you guys are shit.
But that's blatantly racism.
Yeah, but
because it's that guy's blue, that guy's grey.
Yeah, and I'll be it's interesting that the Vorta and the Dominion would intentionally sow that rivalry. I assume they're doing it to make
intentionally.
Yeah, to egg them on to make them both perform better.
Even though the Gamma ones are clearly about to all be killed. At the end, they're just going to get taken out.
Yeah, but they don't. I think Jem Hadar only live 10 years anyway. They only have a very short. If they don't die before in battle,
is it 10 years?
I think it's not really. Yeah,
it's short. I know it's short. Yeah.
Anyway, and
interesting.
But also in that bit, it's the second is obviously his experience trumps any sort of genetic modifications that the alphas have. But I like that the second immediately just knows that Cisco's talking shit, and he's immediately planning. He's he's going to take. You're making a mistake. I like that.
It's a good way of. I mean, it's also well written. Usually it's always why doesn't the villain kill the hero? Type
At least
thing.
This was a reason,
and this is actually quite well done to justify it. It doesn't seem you see a lot of superhero movies. Modern day, even now, they're always we're just not going to kill him because I've got to explain my plan.
Yeah, basically James Bond.
Yeah. No, that was good. It felt much more natural.
Yeah.
In the way it's written for that. So,
however, the the first, so the Alpha first, him deciding to give Cisco the bridge crew to fix the warp drive.
Well, that's the only crew.
No, there's the other.
The
rest of the crew are in a cargo bay. Yeah. Just give him like 3 lackeys, just like 3 really scared ensigns. They're not going to do shit.
They should know, but any ensign with the yellow colours.
Yeah, just
they're the ones that you take.
Yeah, like just give them the bridge crew. They're the most competent people. They're the ones that can retake the shit.
They're going to have a plan.
Yeah,
but then we would have a lower deck situation.
Which would have been cool.
Which
would have been cool.
Is the Jem'Hadar ever in lower decks? Is the Dominion ever in lower decks?
Good question. Don't know. Don't know.
Okay.
Yeah, no idea. Maybe. Probably.
Because I know their thing is the Packlids, which is also cool.
The Packlids are pretty fucking cool. When the Rubicon is flying around, trying to like help out the Defiant, and like we're gonna help them unlock the codes. I was like, why can't the Defiant, air quotes, hack into the Defiant? Why can't they remotely access some
That'd
system?
be a massive security flaw.
Well, no, because like it's not like an external like party. It's like it's part of the ship. That runabout came from the. Do you know what I mean? Like their system should have some kind of connection.
Yeah, but you can imagine it's probably. I mean, how many shows of Star Trek where all the shuttles are just left on a planet because they crashed? And if somebody picks up all the pieces and pieces it together...
We assume there's like a self-destruct kind of...
Yeah, but then you still piece it together and it's like, oh, now I can hack the Enterprise. Cool.
Yeah, okay, no, I
totally... I think from a security standpoint, it completely makes sense.
They could have like blabbed their way around, so I can remote into the thing, as opposed to, we've physically got to go and press some buttons.
Yeah, but we'll get to the set. We'll get to that.
Do you want to go there right now?
I was just going to say that my last point, continue on that, because it's like similar scene positioning.
Yeah.
But I like how everyone has a role to do. Like, everyone's doing something, and it all actually has a good reason. It's not like in our first TNG episode, didn't we mention somebody... Oh, yeah, it's when they're fighting the guy who's infected with the bug, and it's like, oh, well, Geordie and Worf didn't have anything to do in that episode, so it's like, we got to give them something to do.
We'll come back to it because it's a really good scene, but at the very end, Odo and Quark, like that's
well written.
That's well written, but that's clearly their contract obligation.
Yeah. My other niggle is, so now we can get onto that bit with the set.
Yes.
Of course, they teleport into the circuit board for the bridge.
This is O'Brien and Bashir. Yeah. They beam, they need to like plug a wire in somewhere. Do some techno stuff.
Really cool set.
What a cool set. The actors must have loved that.
Yeah.
What a cool set.
One-off, right? So
I believe it's a one-off, yeah. Like they're down there, miniature scale, with these gigantic ice linear chips. It's great. Love it.
My only niggle is that when they teleport air in, it implies that the whole section is airtight.
Which it might. We assume they're in a console.
They're in a console, but the console will not be airtight.
Not airtight, but it wouldn't. Maybe like something like a slow release of the air. My niggle was that you beam some air in, you get 20 minutes.
Beam more in.
Beam more air in. Why?
Also, why is it the runabout? How is the runabout making oxygen?
Because that's a self-contained. That's airtight. It's a spaceship.
Yeah, but is it cycling the system?
It'd have an air recycler in there, surely.
Yeah, but you only can go so far, then you have to top up. It's not going to go on forever.
It's quite a big... They have like crew quarters in the runabout, I think.
Here's another funny thing. It's because, it's weird that something is going to exist that small in the universe forever. Well, the air that they teleported in, those molecules of air, are going to exist in the universe at that scale forever.
Excellent.
And they're never going to come back.
That's cool. Yes.
So, you imagine it's like, why have I suddenly discovered miniature air?
Yeah, man, that's great. Yeah. That's great. I love that.
So a bit further forward, and they're trying to reconnect. Do you not notice? I mean, obviously, it's a great set, but how it's also a bit
shit.
Yeah, it's just what it is. But I love it. And when they mention, because they're like running out of oxygen, they're like, Bashir's like, oh, it's stuck. And you could see that he already pulled it out quite away, because it's obviously not.
It's
like,
clearly
stuck.
Not stuck. It's just those actors are just really like pretending.
Yeah, exactly.
Because
I love it.
Actors.
I love it.
Yeah, it's great.
It was so good. Like that's proper 90s Star Trek. Just really good.
In it, yeah.
Here's another thing: is why does the communication not work to the ship?
What do you mean? That's a good point.
They communicated. So
no, because at the end, when they recovered the ship and like Jadzia is waving at Worf, the prisoners haven't got their comms because they're.
I did notice they don't have their comms.
They haven't got the comm.
So the Jem'Hadar didn't pick that up, the comms when they're communicating. Maybe they're not paying attention.
Yeah, maybe.
Or comms were damaged.
Or maybe because the comm. You go like this. The comms were really small. Like
I was actually going to say, I was going to say that's my next thing. It's like this. Is the comms are just
tiny signals.
So again, same with the air.
Yeah.
Those wavelengths of comm signals are going to go into the universe forever.
Really small.
Well, it probably just means it's like shifted.
That's really funny.
So you could still detect it, but
It's so
it's
stupid.
funny.
But that end fight scene. Really cool. All the crew are like fighting around, good punches.
Yeah, miniature torpedoes.
But yeah, the Defiant fight, that's really cool. We don't even bother with the phasers. I love that. It's cool. Yeah, it's really good.
Yeah, love it.
Yeah, it's just that's
You're like the Worf snaps the neck.
Yeah,
of one
just
of the Jem'Hadar.
straight
just
kills a guy. I like how Nog gets knocked out basically immediately because
it's Nog.
It's Nog. He's a tiny Ferengi against Jem'Hadar, and then Worf is going around, snapping necks. Love it.
It's funny because it's very noticeable how the aliens couldn't move their heads the entire.
The prosthetic
and then Worf just snaps their neck.
It's like
but you can see that's why when he snaps the neck, he just twists the whole body because you can't turn their necks.
It's a whole cast of Batman, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah,
it's like Tim Burton's Batman, where it's like
even Christian Bale. Most Batman actors haven't got much neck movement.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Then they gas everyone.
To put them to sleep,
But as I mentioned before, why do they have that specific gas on lying around?
I would assume either two things. First of all, it could be a security measure. Unlikely. Secondly, it probably has some genuine use, like a coolant maybe.
Yeah.
That it can be diverted, but it's a bit of a...
Yeah, to be able to divert it just from a few presses of a button is a bit risky.
Yeah, but he's the captain, so he can do whatever he likes.
Yeah,
he's got those codes. Yeah,
that's all you need is the codes.
That's it. Yeah, that's kind of all I've got. Like, until we sort of wrap up. We got anything else before not wrap up, before like
the end scene.
The end of the scene. Yeah.
No, I can move on to the end scene.
Fine. It's really fun. It's really stupid.
Do you want Worf's poem?
Oh yeah. Go for it.
Worf's famous poem. This is the story of a little ship that took a little trip. The end.
It's fun. I like it because I like it how it feels like him and Jadzia share a laugh. They both know that's ball. It's obviously them. They're a couple, so that's the kind of jokes that couples do. It's great. Yeah, I like it.
I just love the character development of Worf. He gets so much more breathing room in DS9.
He does,
and it's so much better because it's just in TNG. It's like fire the missiles.
Yeah, he doesn't always win in DS9. There was an episode where he wiped his brother's memory, but we ignore that stuff.
Yeah. I just always keep going back to the Gowron episodes.
Yeah, they're good. Yeah, and obviously Martok is good.
Yeah.
JG Hertzler, what his name is. Yeah, he's great. Yeah, but then the final little bit is Odo and Quark giving Bashir and Brian shit because you guys actually. Have you gone back to your regular height? and there's that extra of that Dabo girl. She just stands up from the bar.
Yeah,
she was
she's
leaning.
Really tall.
Yeah, and she's really tall. Yeah, it's a very silly scene. But then the best bit is when Quark and Odo do they take a step down from whatever step platform they're on, in unison. It's good comedy. It's fun.
Yeah,
it's good.
It's
visual
so well
gags.
written.
Yeah.
I like. It's Armin. What's his name? Shimmerman.
I think Shimmerman.
Yeah.
Or Zimmerman.
Shimmerman, I think.
Shimmerman.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I like Armin Shimmerman. We'll miss Remy Auberjohn. Renee. Damn it. Renee Auberjohn.
Renee Auberjohn.
He was fantastic.
Yeah.
It's great. Oh, one last thing. The bar guy is there because he's in the conversation with
Morn.
Yeah, Morn.
Yeah, he's always there.
Yeah, I just love that touch.
Everyone loves Morn.
I love that touch.
We like Morn. He's always
just there in weird events.
I like this one particularly because Bashir and O'Brien are telling him the story. They're deep in conversation, and you would assume that before the camera cut to them, that he was asking questions like, "Then what did you do then?" And that's always the eternal joke
Such
with Morn.
a good joke.
It's I don't know what show they took it from. They stole that character. The idea of
Cheers.
Maybe Cheers. Yeah, another sitcom. Yeah, they have
a sitcom in the bar, so that's why I assumed.
Yeah. It's just a character just sits there quietly and I think
he's great. I think, and I'm
Put
glad
that kind of character in more shows. It just works.
Yeah, and just don't do what modern writing would be, where they eventually at the last episode would say something. You just never have them say anything.
That's not modern. Any show would do
I know,
that.
but you know what it's like. They're like, we're gonna bring it back.
Boomer who hates modern TV.
I like modern TV. There's something modern I like.
You have a lot.
A lot of modern films are really good.
You have a lot of grumbles about stuff, though.
Yeah.
You boomer.
No, but it's better. It's just my point. You say more by doing less sometimes.
Yeah, I know. Yeah,
and
show don't tell.
Exactly, and that is a perfect writing, especially with that character Morn. Perfect example of what Star Trek does really well in seasons like this.
Yeah, well, what it can do really.
Yeah.
Well. The Star Trek does not always win. It's perfect writing.
And I like at the end. I think it's the final ever episode where they're like, "Oh, he's about to say something," and then it just cuts away and stops him saying anything.
He does that. He does.
Yeah.
Opens his mouth and yeah.
So good jokes.
Okay.
Very fun episode.
Yeah. Do you want to move into your final thoughts, your wrap ups?
Final thoughts. That was very fun.
Yeah.
I know we complained a bit. Mainly niggles.
Yeah. It was always niggles.
It's always niggles, but
we are analyzing, reviewing media. You just naturally you come in it like a different light when you do this kind of exercise. You just naturally like, what we're doing there. You pull out shit.
I like analysing and actually getting to talk about it. That's why I do this. It's fun. But like, even though we discuss the niggles, and we highlight those, a lot of those were just fun.
Yeah, it's
like
good,
just
good to
like
talk about.
Yeah, just
your
it's
little
still
rants
fun
about
to talk about
how like the miniaturization is actually bollocks. That's a fun thing to talk about.
But it's also just like the set design, like for the microprocessors, and then how they put the cables in, and you can just see it's like, oh, they went down to the local hardware store and bought like those exhaust tubes, and they basically put lights in it, and it's like, this is just, it's cute. It's cute, and you just don't get that anymore.
No.
Because it's more money.
No, that's actually not true. Do you do you ever watched on YouTube Adam Savage's Tested?
I have watched occasionally a few videos.
Yeah, really good stuff. Obviously, I watch it quite a bit actually, and he's always talking about like prop making and stuff.
Yeah,
and actually, they just done a couple of videos where they're visiting like a set for a show called Silo.
Oh, I saw this popped up on my feed actually.
I've never heard of a show Silo. But we're looking around some.
Oh no, it's on Apple TV. And it's got Sarah Ferguson.
Oh, cool.
She's from Dune and
she's
also in Mission Impossible films.
Yeah, but like we look around some of the props and some of the sets, and it looks really cool. And so the idea that they don't do practical things anymore is really cool. But I always like
maybe it's more that it looks way more professional.
Well, I don't know. I
like that cute. I like that cute though.
No, I do. But
they bashed that up probably in a few hours.
Oh, definitely.
But to think, to just have somebody to like, how could I do this in a few hours and get the materials cheap or from literally around the corner?
Yeah.
And put it together. Oh my God. Great set.
Which is why that's why I mentioned Adam Savage's Tested. If you've not ever watched it, it's really good.
Yeah.
He will talk endlessly about how you do exactly that, how you can just like execute a prop in a few hours. Here's a problem, let's solve it, and they do. Yeah, it's really good listening to him talk. So yeah, IMDb is. What are you going to give it?
I'm going to give it 8. I was already definitive as soon as we watched it. I was like, it's going to be an 8.
Very good. 8.
I'm pretty confident.
Yeah, I'm going to basically say, like, kind of everything you just said. The episode's really fun. It's really good. No complaints. Even the complaints we had, actually, they were good complaints.
I'm tempted to bump it up, actually.
Oh, is he going to bump it?
Tempted to bump it up to 8.5.
8.5, that's quite the bump.
Yeah, mainly because, like, if I go to 9, it would be, for me, for DS9, it would be more like a major story plot episode. It's probably closer, like, for example, the one that comes off the top of my head would be one of the final episodes with, what's the main villain's name?
Jem'Hadar?
No, the Cardassian. Gul-Dukat. An episode with him towards the latter part of the season. Maybe even the one where he kills Jadzia because he just has a good performance in that scene. That bumps up to 9, even though I don't like that Jadzia was removed.
I have some opinions about everything you just said, but I'm not going to talk about it now. We'll be here for the next half an hour.
For another time.
For another time.
But as in, like, for me, it's just more of like a performance with him in it when he's fantastic and he really elevates the episode. Or I think, actually, better example, the episode where I think Gul-Dukat and the other Cardassian who's the spy in inverted commas.
Oh, yeah.
On DS9. Garrick. There's an episode with both of them together. And they have to work together.
Yeah,
that's probably a 9. Yeah, that's a 9 equivalent to me. And then a 10 would have to be perfect, and that's really difficult to achieve.
Yeah, no.
What's a perfect episode of DS9?
Yeah, I could. I mean, if you want me to, I would say something like I can't remember any of the names. The one where they're like they're back in time in like in the 50s.
Oh,
40s,
that was
50s.
good. Yeah,
that one.
Okay, that's a 9 for me.
The racism one. That one's really good.
Is that the one where they're writing the book?
Yeah, that's the one. The one where there's that Cardassian who's pretending to be a war criminal, and Kira's like that. I think it's like season 1 or season 2. Really good. Nog's recovery from his leg injury.
That war episode.
Yeah, but the one after where he's recovering.
Yeah.
That PTSD episode. Like at the top of my head, like their 10s. Oh, Pale Moonlight. It's a fake. Like those ones.
It's like for me, the one where they actually have that war episode.
Yeah.
That's like a 9.5, close to a 10 for me.
Yeah.
That's like
but if we ever get
really
there,
top. For me, that's top DS9.
Yeah. But yeah.
So there you go. That's why I give it an 8.5.
8.5,
So,
yeah.
Just a solid episode.
Yeah, solid episode. I loved it. And I was actually going to say I was going to come down exactly same as you and an 8. And I'm going to stick with my 8 because I was 8 was...
Well, that's better than your 2 6s from the last time.
No, totally.
I was going to ask you then at the end because I mentioned it at the beginning.
Well, before we get there, let's find out what the episode actually
let's
got
not
on
cut
IMDb.
too far.
Let's not jump ahead too much. Okay. One Little Ship from DS9 gets a 7.6. Really good.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah. No, like you remember. So this is IMDb meta.
Yeah.
We're on like our own meta.
Yeah.
Like,
well, that's why I changed it because I feel I thought if I gone 8, I may be playing the meta a bit too much.
Yeah. I found that in like the early parts of our podcast, I was like, everything I'm saying is somewhere around 7. I'm like, it's kind of boring.
I mean, definitely my previous scores.
Yeah.
My previous scores I still stick with, but I'm not playing the meta here. We'll go with our own.
But we obviously still do the meta on but 7.6. It's a good episode.
Yeah.
Gets a good score.
Yeah. I was gonna say what's your favourite, but of the 3 of these bonus, but it's pretty clear it's this one, right? You rated it higher than any other. Yes.
But it's kind of weird because just because I rated it higher doesn't mean it's like that much better. It's really hard to explain what I mean by that.
So you would prefer TNG?
I don't know. Yeah. Okay. So out of the 3, this one is the best of those 3 episodes we watched: for TNG, for Discovery, and the DS9 one. But so those 2 were 6. This is an 8. I didn't hate the other 2. They were really good episodes. They were fine. I don't know. I don't really know what I'm saying here. I'm just rambling. How about you? What was your favourite out of the 3?
It's difficult because I quite like Conspiracy.
Yeah, you did. Yeah,
much more than
I did. Yeah,
you did. Would I would go by what would I watch again? I think I would watch Little Ship again. One Little Ship again. It's fun. So I'd go with that as being better. It was just fun. Yeah, like as much as Conspiracy was definitely. It's interesting as an episode, and I do like it, and it is one of the, as we found out, it's one of the most well-rated TNG episodes ever. Who knew? But this was it was nice to experience a fun one.
I guess also with this one is that this is DS9 season 6, so the crew and everyone's like more established,
all on it,
and also because in TNG season 1, all the behind-the-scenes crew, writers, directors, the production staff. Everyone's still quite, I assume, like fairly green.
Well, Gene Roddenberry was still involved.
Yeah, exactly. But by this point, I don't know. I think TNG is probably wrapped up, but a lot of the crew just like moved to DS9 and Voyager. So all the crew are like, they've got making Star Trek down to a T. They know what they're doing.
Isn't this the time when it's just Voyager and DS9 at this point?
I think so. I don't know. I don't know when years and things.
When did TNG finish?
Oh, actually,
97.
So this episode aired. 2000. So yeah,
definitely
finished.
But they had the films.
They had the films, of course. Yeah, so that's a good point. Anyway, but before we wrap up even more, how did you like this bonus series thing we've been doing?
Loved it.
Yeah.
Next time we should do you.
Do me. Yeah. Well, yeah, maybe we'll see. I like the idea of like giving just that grain more, hair more, a bit more choice.
No, I like it. The random element's great. Yeah, because you never know what you're going to get. The
random, so obviously picking a show that gives you quite a lot of power. picking an episode also gives you power. Picking a season, that's the weakest of the three, because
generally you always go. I mean, if you want to metagame it, later seasons.
Well, it depends on the show, because like a show like Strange New Worlds or Lower Decks, like I'd be happy like any of them. Cause I think
I mean
they're
lower,
strong
I mean Lower Decks you could probably do any season
throughout.
But generally, if it's like I guess original series, TNG, DS9, Voyager.
No, original you want
Would you probably want to go later anyway, because that's when, like you said, they're all
not necessarily
writings.
Not necessarily
on
original series. I think a lot of their good episodes, or episodes that I would want to talk about at least, are in season 1.
Okay, interesting. I've never seen the original series.
Oh mate,
so...
you are.
Well, we're gonna
when you
roll for it.
Yeah, when you
actually, I would say Enterprise would, for me, have to be basically the last episode. Or second to last, third to last.
God, you love drama, don't you?
I don't like Enterprise.
I know you don't, but you love drama. You really like getting like that.
No, but it's the Mirror Universe episode, which is like third to last.
Oh, so I thought you meant like the actual ending.
Yeah.
No, yeah.
And then the actual ending, because I think it's quite sweet. And even though I know people don't like the tie-in with Riker and such, but I liked it.
I know. Yes, our episode of the podcast in season 2, where we spoke about Enterprise, is episode E squared from season 3. It's just a really good episode of Star Trek.
What's that one?
It's like a time travel anomaly thing, and like the crew has to stay where they are in space and become a generational ship to meet the future version themselves, like undo a mistake.
Oh yeah,
and it's a really good one. It's just a really good episode of Star Trek. Enterprise,
I think,
regardless.
Okay, we'll quickly finish this, but just to end this conversation. But the reason why I particularly don't like Enterprise, I like the little small stories. The Borg episode was a nice, cute one. It's more that the whole overarching narrative of it's like this coalition in space, and then they have some big laser or sphere that can like destroy everything, and it's like it's weird. It's not. Like, I don't feel. It feels.
Do you mean the whole Xindi storyline?
Yeah, I hate it.
That's great.
I hate it.
I love it.
It reminds me too much of what's that show? Farscape. It reminds me of Farscape.
Okay. Yeah,
especially like there's that scene where they have like that the set design with all the different species. It's very Farscape-y, and that was always a bit.
Personally, I like it, but yeah, each to their own. Anyway, we're going to wrap up. Right, hold on, because this is it. This bonus episode 3. There's no more. We have to return to our normal lives.
It's been great.
Yeah, so I'm going to wrap us up. So yeah, there's no need to do stats of episode or anything like that. We can just leave. No, I'll do a proper outro. But yeah, thank you for listening into Warp Factor Unknown. I've been your host, Dan. I've been joined by my co-host, Jacob.
Goodbye.
Excellent, love that. Today we talked about Star Trek Deep Space Nine episode One Little Ship, season 6, episode 14. Join us next time as we take another deep dive into the Star Trek universe. And I don't know what we're discussing then. We'll have to find out when we get to season 3. But until then, thank you for your continued support. Share, comment, like, all this stuff. If you'd like to contact us, email us warpfactorunknown@outlook.com. And the music used for the podcast is called Starfleet Command by Jeff Harvey.